Vancouver police have arrested 2 men in relation to a shooting yesterday on Vancouver's west side where a 42-year-old Vancouver man was targeted. Officers responded to several 911 callers who reported shots being fired near West 29th Avenue and Dunbar Street at about 5:45 p.m. A man carrying a baby in a car seat was targeted. Also with him was a woman and a 3-year-old child. The man was shot and the suspects fled the area. The suspects fled the area in a car. The suspects then collided with a parked car and then fled on foot. This was an extremely dynamic and challenging call. Our VPD response was swift and effective. Officers were able to locate and arrest the suspects a short distance away while our emergency response team medics applied first aid to the injured victim before the paramedics arrived. The victim was then taken to hospital with non-life-threatening injuries, and the suspects were taken into custody. The investigation is ongoing, and today police will be on the site of the shooting to gather more evidence. Anyone with information or anyone with dash cam footage from last night between 4:30 p.m. and 6:30 p.m. in the area of 29th Avenue and Dunbar and West 29th Avenue from Dunbar to Alma is asked to call investigators at 604-717-2541.
We know that there's been a string of gun violence across the Lower Mainland over the last month. Some of it we know has been linked to the Lower Mainland gang conflict. Is this being linked to any gang conflict, or I know you said this is targeted, but where are we in terms of linking it to gang conflict in the Lower Mainland?
So yes, you're right. Like I said, what we do know from the evidence that our investigators have gathered so far, this is a targeted incident. For investigative purposes, I'm unable to disclose any more information pertaining to the suspects or the victim at this time.
Do we know if the victim's still in hospital?
No, he has been released from hospital.
Just a couple questions about the shooting itself. Do we know what kind of gun he used and do we know what kind of injuries?
Sorry, I just heard the first part. Just what kind of gun was used? Was that the question?
That was one of the questions, yeah.
So again, our investigators are looking into that. I can't get into details about weapons or any particular details about the file as it's still under investigation.
Okay. How about the injuries itself? Can you give some details about where he was hit and where he was struck?
All I can say is they were non-life-threatening injuries, thankfully.
And how did he, like if he was carrying a baby and he was shot, how did the baby manage not to get injured at all?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And, you know, like somebody was looking out for that baby for sure. You know, yes, this was a targeted incident, but I mean, it happened just before 6 p.m., broad daylight, right in front of a heavy populated restaurant, let alone a heavy populated street. This is concerning for us. You know, like this victim was carrying a baby. This baby was uninjured, thankfully, but for this to happen, it's reckless behavior. And you know what? There's absolutely no room for that kind of behavior in our city.
Quick question about the other child that was, in the vicinity. How close were they, and how fortunate was it that the other people there, including that child, were sort of in the line of that gunshot?
So I don't have particulars on how close they were, but again, these 2 kids definitely had some guardian angels looking out for them that night.
And then just to follow up, if I can, have there been any services sort of available to that child and the other person that was there?
So our investigators are dealing with the victim and his family, the people that accompanied him. So they will be in contact then, providing victim support and whatnot from there, here on out.
Are you concerned that things might be escalating given that we're seeing someone with holding a baby being targeted? Can you get into that a little bit? The brazenness of that?
Mm-hmm. For sure. This, from not only a police perspective, but just, you know, from a citizen perspective, the fact that these suspects conducted this type of action, attempted murder essentially, in broad daylight in a heavily populated street in front of a populated restaurant to a man who was carrying a child, that just shows the reckless behavior, selfish behavior, careless behavior that these suspects displayed. It's concerning. It's not right, and our investigators are working hard to make sure that these suspects are held accountable.
Are you able to say if this victim if these were his family members? Was that his baby? Was that his partner and his other child? Like, what's the relationship there?
Unfortunately, I don't have exact details on how they're all connected at this time.
And just one more question, but we've talked to a couple people in the area that were here yesterday that said they had noticed a bit of a police presence in the area. I mean, I don't know if you would talk about operational stuff at all, but is the person that was targeted here, is he known to police? Was there any kind of surveillance happening?
So all I know is that this was a targeted incident. I can't get into anything further about either the suspect or the victim or their history or any of that, just for investigative purposes right now.
And just one more question, sorry, but we also talked to witnesses that said there were quite a few police nearby that they thought they were there for something unrelated. Can you talk about that at all? Because they said they were able to really get here quite quickly. Were there police that happened to be in the area nearby when these shots rang out yesterday?
Yeah, so we did have members in the area. Nothing related to this. This is what our patrol officers do. We patrol the area, and that's our job. And our response time was exceptionally quick, and I believe that led to the quick apprehension of these two suspects.